is the application of the laws of nature to manifest your best life.
Okay.
Right?
And voodoo?
That's the purpose of it.
Uh-huh.
Now, people became selfish and started using something called low magic. Low magic is using base elemental magic to control other people. Right?
Right.
So they was taking low magic and they was using low magic on a mass scale.
That's basically
Right?
like code lockdown. Low magic.
Yep. Okay, now, while the people are being victimized by the low magic, they doing something to keep the higher ranking of the people in a narcotic state. It's called bloodletting rituals.
Bloodletting rituals.
Right. Because angels in human form don't like the smell of blood, and the adrenaline from adrenochrome makes them senselessly angry.
Okay.
And they'll just start tearing up shit.
All right.
But the bloodletting ritual keeps them narcotized. Kingu, that's exactly the spell called Kingu. The Nuwabians identified the name of it.
Okay.
Okay, so once you start using voodoo, the spell can't work on you. Because you're finding balance with yourself as the first frame of reference. And as soon as one of us balance out to the laws of nature perfect, she using us. Ain't no question about it.
Right.
I've been waiting on one of y'all.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you start coming out of the spell in reverse. You can smell the blood in the atmosphere of the children, the slaughterhouses, the mass bloodletting rituals. Right? You can smell it in the atmosphere. It's repugnant. It's like smelling it's not like a repellent like a skunk. It's like smelling real strong urine.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
In a real hot place with very low ventilation.
Yeah, so that's shit.
And to give you a migraine headache. And
So,
it make your muscles start to stiffen. It's bad. But you got to go through it to wake up. You can't wake up without smelling that blood in the morning, 3 a.m. while they doing it. Well, they not doing them now, but they was doing them rituals. Because Big Mama needs you to know what you fighting against.
Right.
So she got to wake you through the trauma that the world is going through.
All right. That makes total sense. So like
Now,
you got, all right, go ahead.
Once you come through the trauma, your anger is kindled. If you're not balanced, you can't control it. If you're not balanced, you can't control it. You are in 100-mile-an-hour rage with no direction. You just gonna tear some shit up.
Even
and this
your
is
own
why you won't know you won't know who to attack.
Damn.
Right? Because
Right.
all the intellectual teaching is that our enemy don't look like us.
Right.
But the spiritual knowledge says they look like us and some of them don't. Right? So the spiritual knowledge overrides what these people saying. Those who want you to continue vibrating at a low frequency are going to keep pushing the race issue. Tell them the race is over. Tell them the race is over and the gorilla won. Right? So, so this smell, it does some fucked up shit to you. But once you get to the point where you can gain your composure now, right? Now you got to go through the adrenaline. This is where you have to be fearless in your shadow work. Because when she wake you through the adrenaline of all of the babies that suffered the adrenochrome, your adrenaline level rise quick than a motherfucker. Right? So now you full of adrenaline with no outlet. You might be asleep when you wake up. It might wake you up out of dead sleep. Right? But once you woke now.
Right.
Like you know what's going on because you went through the experience and Earth and told you.
Right.
Big Mama then aligned you with nature to the point where you know now you just listen to the people to hear how to translate the feelings of the grievance. Right? So then people complain, consistent complaints. Those consistent complaints become the grievance of the earth.
The grievance. All right.
All right. Now, the complaint has to be consistent, clean across the land.
You has to be consistent, clean across the land. Like,
yeah. In order to be a what you call a God level grievance. In order for Big Mama to assign it for me or Larry to fix it, it got to be a certain amount of people with the same grievance.
Okay. Okay.
Right? All across the land.
Right.
That means that it's a universal issue. It affects people unilaterally across all barriers and all lines. We need to deal with this and we need to fix this problem. Right?
Right.
So now that we understand that the problem is here, the people that vex the grievance, then we have to codify it. That means what is the consequence that go with this?
All right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you turn this shit around? Then you have to take it out to your people when you got all of it figured out. Your elders come to you and say, okay, give me the answers you came up with and let me go see if they fit. If all your answers fit, you got all the right answers, okay, now go present the problem to the public. Go tell the people what the issue is and see if they can muster up enough of their God self to wake up from the slumber and reclaim what's rightfully theirs by addressing the same grievance. Right? Mm-hmm. My job is to simplify it into one thing that covers all of the grievances. Right? Before I present it to the people, I got to make it as simple as possible for them to overcome the obstacle because they made it as difficult as possible to keep us oppressed.
Right.
So the level of difficulty they created the obstacle, the exit has to have the equal amount of ease. And it's real simple. It's a battle cry, and the battle cry is Free Larry Hoover. Period. And that answers all of the underlying grievances in our community across the land, from our land back to our wealth back to getting the imposters off the land to restoring our families and our family structures and going back to a more wholesome way of living, getting rid of the GMOs out of the atmosphere,
right,
out of the food, out of the ground. All of that is all that's part of Free Larry Hoover.
Right.
He's just one man.
Right.
But you have to sum up the total of grievances and the injustice that he was faced with. The injustice Angel Bay was faced with. The injustice Tukey was faced with. By the same people that's doing the dirt. It's sufficient for me to use either one of them as the battle cry. The thing being is, by me being in the clan of Larry Hoover, he the chairman of the board. He my chief.
Right, right.
So I use Free Larry Hoover. But to me, it don't mean no different than Free Chief Malik Angel Bay. Right?
Mm-hmm. Where's
Big Stan Tukey Williams? Right? It's all the same to me, but to the people, you got to make it as simple as possible. The simplest way to get all our wealth back, get everything back, is to get us to understand that the battle cry is Free Larry Hoover.
Right.
Once we get that to click, we can focus on one agenda. That one agenda automatically shifts when we reach critical mass.
That's deep. Hey. So look, let me get 2 books that you recommend. One for voodoo and just one like that's just something that I should probably really tap into.
I had a good voodoo book. Voodoo books is like underground shit. You can get some,
right?
But the best voodoo information to try to go to you in the NO. Go to an old thrift store, look at their books.
Oh, Maryland. I'm out Maryland, so
even there. Go to the thrift store, look at the old books, try to find old grimoires or something.
Grimoires. But all right, but
you know, yeah, voodoo you can find it's a lot of people got a lot of good information out too.
Say that.
Look up Lucky Mojo Curio on the web. They got a lot of information on just their website.
Lucky Mojo Curio.
Yep.
I appreciate this insight, guy, for real. So, real shit. Keep doing what you're doing. Definitely with the movement, 100%, 100%. Niggas is tired of this system. This shit crumbling. So, I'll let somebody.
This shit over with. We just ain't realized it yet.
This shit over with. So, I'm gonna let somebody else get their questions in, share the light, and I appreciate you, God.
For sure.
Bro. I don't even know how to.
Hey, give me a second.
Stuck up on you, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. I was watching TV with my mom. You have to forgive my voice. I'm getting over a cold.
Oh, you're all right.
So you were talking the other day about being like connected with kind of like you're talking about like spiritual connections with men in relations to the mother picking women. Can you like kind of
You talking about the heart connection that I was talking about the other day. Right.
Can you explain that like a little more?
I'll go over it again. In your heart chakra, all children born connected in their heart space to their mother. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the mother's love is unconditional. If the woman love in her heart never matches the love that the mother have for the son, he won't never fall for her.
So can that like happen unintentionally?
Yep, 100%. Most of the time, nobody's conscious of it anymore. Still can happen. It's still gonna happen, right? But we not as conscious. We used to know this, right? We used to know this. When the heart spaces align, you pass off the mitochondrial from one woman to another, right?
Mm-hmm.
If my woman care about me and she know I love my mama, why do they have to fight?
Right.
That doesn't make sense, right? Mm-hmm. Why do they have these things where they make you choose between your wife, your daughter, and your mama? What are they doing?
Right.
Right. So what they're trying to do is confuse the heart space. Because that 3-point connection is the same. Unconditional.
So my question is like when you find yourself in a connection like that, do you find it necessary to kind of explain that, or do you have to like just live it? Because I think that's something
you're gonna live it before you ever be able to explain it. You got to live it before you have to even be able to understand it from how you feel perspective. So you're going to live it long before you ever able to explain it. But if you're able to explain it as it's happening, it's a playing the violin to soothe the audience, so to speak.
So how can you do that without sounding crazy? Because I have dreams, right? Or I'll have like lucid dreams about whoever my person, like the guy I'm with at the time. I'll have like dreams like about him, and then they'll be like precautionary, right? So it'll just be like, it'll be something going on, and then I'll find the need to be like, hey, keep your eyes open, like be aware, because there's stuff going on around you. And then, you know, you get the typical like guy answer where he's just like, oh, you just think I'm cheating on you. Like, no, I don't. Like, I'm
Okay,
trying to
so
tell
look,
you.
this is his mama testing you to
Right.
see if you can see how to protect him. He ain't got no fucking clue. He's a fucking idiot. All of us are, right? All of us idiots when it comes to matters of the heart, right? Because it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. And you sound crazy when you're just sitting here like, open your
Love
eyes.
shit don't look. The love shit don't make sense to the mind. They don't make sense, right? But when the mind is open enough to figure out what this energy is really saying to it, not only do it make sense, it changes who and what you are at your root.
Right.
You ain't the same no more.
Right.
Right? And women have to be cautious of who they allow in their heart space, because you turn that motherfucker on and he ain't ready. He all inside your head, kicking you in the back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can't control himself. And he'll tell you, I don't know what it is, but for you, I ain't never had to go through this shit with no woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, you too much for him. That's what he telling you. Fallen angels end up going. So once we start matriculating north back into Europe, yep, Zumbe. Now, when you look that up, you're going to find that it means the same thing as the Sanskrit word avatar in English. That's where your word zombie come from. When they're calling you the walking dead, you the walking dead, because your God form is asleep within you. And that's why they say it's in your sacrum. And you got to cross the burning sands. Or you have to cross the ruby red floor set. What's the ruby red floor set is the base chakra. It's the red chakra. It's where all of your energy gets trapped. We don't get too much into that. But we're trying to find out how to locate the gods on earth. Now, some people are born with natural psychic ability. They the gods on earth. Only problem is they get indoctrinated, and the indoctrination work the same way as wrapping them up with rope from head to toe. All of your psychic abilities is trapped within you, and you can't release it because of your belief system. Your belief system is incompatible with who and what you are. You got sacred sex and you got animal sex. All sex ain't the same. One person can have animal sex while the other person having sacred sex. But the one having sacred sex gonna change the one having animal sex. They can't stay in that animal state but for a few minutes. That's why men have premature ejaculations, because they have an animal sex. You can't have a premature ejaculation if you having divine sex, if you having God sex. It's not possible, because you can't raise the energy in a 3-minute ejaculation. The energy won't raise. There's a lot of techniques. I'm not going to go on over them here, because this is about identifying the fallen ones and what happened to them and where they at. Okay, so now you've seen them in Genesis 6, right? When they married the daughters of men. When you get to Psalms 82, they give you a whole discourse about the royal family being gods in flesh and falling like the princes and dying like men. It's telling you about your reincarnation cycle, or we can walk in too. If you want to know about walk-ins, the book is by Ruth Montgomery, and I think it's called Strangers Among Us. And they talk about the walk-ins in detail, and there's not a whole lot of people that can understand it. Not necessarily. Your pineal gland can be calcified and you can still have your psychic abilities intact. It's just that it'll be more difficult or restricted in how much of it you assimilate. I'm going to give you an example of what I'm talking about. You have a child born that can see stuff naturally. And over the years, his pineal gland start to calcify the same as regular. But then something happens, but he can still see, but it's calcified. Now, the pineal gland in and of itself is not the only part of the awakening process. When they focus on the pineal gland, they are talking specifically about the third eye alone. They're not talking about the third eye and the ascension. They're just talking about seeing clairvoyantly when they're talking about the DMT and the pineal gland. You have a bigger portion of the brain called anterior gyrus that is your direct hotspot to source, meaning that it's the high-speed internet version of talking to God, and it's go through your anterior gyrus. It's about a spot about that big, probably about the size of a small plum in the brain on the right hemisphere. When God try to talk to you or give you information, yeah, I ain't really too much, I could do this thing celibate, but, when you be trying to heal people, they still think you under the curse. They think you on some sex shit, and they tend to look at it from a slanted view, and the gods are more likely to be falsely accused of crimes. They more likely to be arrested on trumped up charges, moved from positions of power. They know who we all are. It can't be a secret if the plan is already laid. Now, if the plan is already laid, there has to be an end to it. It's an end game. This is the end game I'm giving y'all, because y'all have to know what the punishment was. So, black people kicking and screaming about how bad white people been treating them for 400 years. I got some real bad news for black people. You're not punished for your sins. You punished by your sins. The dirt you did is the dirt you getting back. But here's the kicker. The volume been turned down on your discrimination because you couldn't have handled the shit that them people went through. That's why you ain't want to touch them. That's not right. You mad now because you ain't allowed to have shit. You ain't allowed to do shit, be shit, and become shit. For 400 years, you've been going through this demeaning position in the global society. How did you get here? How the fuck did you get here? Why are you here? And if you the baddest motherfuckers ever bred on this planet, why you at the bottom of the goddamn barrel, and how did you get there? You don't know none of the answers to that shit, then you can stop crying about what the white man doing to you and look at the shit for what it is. The white man ain't doing nothing to you. What the fuck are we doing to him? Using him for a weapon against each other. That's what we doing to him. White supremacy wasn't written by white people. I hate to be the one to disappoint y'all, but I don't give a fuck. I'm going to tell it like it is. You just going to have to be disappointed. All of the social issues that we complain about are part of the fucking punishment for doing the dirt we did. Or the dirt we let them do, I should say, because we ain't the ones did it. The invaders did the dirt, and we stood by. We didn't do what a guardian is supposed to do. When you babysitting and you see the kids about to fuck some shit up, you supposed to stop them. We ain't stop them. And y'all want to know why we had to pay for the shit. Well, we all didn't. Only one of us was willing to pay for it in full with his own motherfucking shit. One motherfucker. Because mama say you can't just throw people away like trash. And that's exactly what Inky did. Following his brother's orders because he was outranked. They threw them people away in Europe. And Ears wrote. Ear is Inky. Ear is Inky. When they say they threw them away in Europe, they ain't lying. And that's why Ivan Van Sertima had to go and find African presidents early Europe. Because it wasn't no Europeans before 10,000 years ago. Wasn't none. When you see them talking about Cro-Magnons, Australopithecus, and Neanderthals, them was niggas. That's what they call us today. Them was niggas. Them was thugs. Them was us. Wasn't no pale-skinned European. So what did we do? What was the cleanup? What was the remedy? In order for everybody to be on an equal playing field, on the same level, first of all, them people needed to be able to rule an empire. They came from being perpetual servants. It's in your books. It ain't no secret. It's in all your books. Now you want to bitch, cry, moan, kick and scream about injustice and inequality when you created this shit. If you didn't create it, you stood by and let it happen. And mama said, well, baby, the sealer is as good as the stiller. That's right. That's right, Portia. You know the Thuggee was Queen Kylie's way of keeping the balance of wealth. With her Robin Hoods. With her Robin Hoods. They was robbing the hood. Anyway, so when we was expecting that they would clean that shit up and they had no plan for it, somebody any right to engage in any activity or to perform any act contrary to the character of the Organization of American States or of the Charter of the United Nations, or construed as authorizing or encouraging any action which would dismember or impair, totally or in part, the territorial integrity and political unity of sovereign and independent states. What that mean?
Yeah.
That means that Article 4 of this declaration says that the United Nations can't interfere in our business, nor any other individual states that's under the Charter, Organization of American States, or the Charter of the United Nations. So the United Nations is also in an agreement with America, right, which gave them control of the policing policies on the land. That's why they closed now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? All right, let's go on to the next part. Do this look like we getting to something?
That shit get lit, man.
Mm-hmm. All right, human rights and collective rights, right? Full effect and observance of human rights. Remember what Malcolm said? We don't need civil rights.
Yeah, right.
He said we need human rights, right?
Mm-hmm.
This it right here. Indigenous people and individuals have the right to the full enjoyment of all human rights and fundamental freedoms as recognized in the Charter of the United Nations, the Charter of the Organization of American States and international human rights laws. That means this taking all of those people they just named in there, that they saying they can't interfere in our fundamental freedoms and our basic human rights any longer. Now remember, they was an occupied government masquerading as a de facto government when they were, as a de jure government when they were in fact operating under the color of law in a de facto capacity and giving us the illusion that they had the authority. But all corporations derive their authority, all corporate political bodies, from the people that they govern. Right? So if you don't give them the right to govern you, which Trump signed the second Declaration of Independence in July of 2020. Right? So I sent that to you. We were probably going to get pulling up. Yep. So like the first 5 minutes of that video is fire. All right. Now we go to something called collective rights. That means when we stand together in unity, all this right here apply to us standing together as the collective unified clans on the land or the tribes of the land. Indigenous people have collective rights that are indispensable for their existence, well-being, and integral development as a people. In that regard, states recognize and respect the rights of indigenous people to their collective action, to their that word look like it's misspelled.
Action.
It's juridical, which it should have been jurisdictional, social, political, or judicial, social, political, and economic systems or institutions. This is giving us back control of Big Mama Bank right here. To their own cultures. Our culture, we already had a banking system. To profess and practice